Bad boy Pluto is jumping signs tomorrow. Whenever the slow moves planet ingresses into another sign, it is always accompanied by an intense crisis at first. And with the full moon we just had on November 15, conjunct the planet Uranus, which rules over shocks and surprises, we are indeed witnessing a big shock regarding Joe Biden that has given the green light for Ukraine to use long range missiles being supplied by the US to strike into Russia. So, big news. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Astrid. I'm a Western astrologer. Today we will highlight the big ingress of Pluto into Aquarius. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and thank you for all my new subscribers. I welcome you here into this space. And today we will go over some very important topics. So, Pluto, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Pluto is the planet of rebirth, endings, new beginnings. It is rising from the ashes. Pluto destructs to rebuild anew. And Pluto already dipped into Aquarius from January this year until September, a very brief transit at 0 degrees, and then it retrograded back into Capricorn to wrap up some unfinished business. So the biggest impact will be for Aquarius, of course, and Aquarius rules our future. So very big, intense changes regarding that. And Pluto has fixed qualities because it belongs to the fixed sign of Scorpio, and now it moves into the fixed sign of Aquarius. So, of course, Scorpio's sun, moon, and rising, because Pluto is your ruler, it will be of great significance for you as well. And for all the other fixed signs. So the other fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And the fixed signs are like least welcoming to change. Their role in the zodiac is to like to keep tradition, keep things the way they are. And they are known for their ability to sustain, stand firm in their values, and see things through to completion. So let's not forget that Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and it will now be in square or tension aspect with its own sign of Scorpio. And it thus triggers the whole world to move towards a change and a renewal. And this transition will be fueled by Mars being in opposition to Pluto until April. And we are experiencing this intense energy on all levels, both personally and globally. The intensity of these changes will be strongest from November 5th until January 6th, when Pluto changes signs, of course, now. And with Mars, it indicates like full action on the Pluto ingress. So yeah, very, very, very big changes. Hi, Claudia. Thank you so much for joining live. And hey, Celestial Emma. Yes, so nice to have you here live with us. Welcome. Okay, so the second big opposition with Mars and Pluto will happen in the beginning of January. And the third one we will experience by the end of April. So actually all the way up until April, this energy really sticks around. So it is very, very intense. And I've talked about it more in depth in my video about the new moon in Scorpio we just had. But with this opposition, I do expect some civil unrest, groups of people coming together, Aquarius, and definitely with the Mars retrograde that is coming up. It's starting on the 6th of December. So it will take a while for things to calm down a bit. I even suggest that the entire year of 2025 will be marked with huge sudden shifts. And Pluto right now, he's like gonna ingress into the sign of Aquarius for the third time. So normally, whenever Pluto changes signs, he does it in 2 times. Now he's like doing that for a third time. That makes it like way more significant. And I think because we will have the third opposition from Mars and Pluto by the end of April, by the beginning of April, I'm sorry, that is like, yeah, third time's really a charm. And like in April, we will see very, very big lessons and issues coming up revolving the themes that we're going to mention now in this video. So Aquarius is an air sign. It is ruled or it rules over science, invention, technology, AI, everything having to do with electricity, computers, democracy, freedom, humanitarianism, rebellion is a very big one of them as well. And it rules over big masses of people. So community, the collective consciousness, and it has like a very forward-thinking nature. So I do expect very big technologically advancements, significant changes in AI becoming way more prominent in our daily life, things revolving around SpaceX, the blockchain, internet, and really the way how we communicate and relate to each other. So that will indicate a big societal reform. I do also expect fights about freedom. So I see big communities gathering their strength, and a lot of new movements regarding Aquarian themes will be built while Pluto is in Aquarius. And yes, Celestial Emma, I will dive deeper into that because I will highlight the shadow sides of technology as well. So yeah, definitely. So expect like a new era, more about the common person. It strives towards equality among the masses, but Pluto is a very slow-moving planet, so it takes like ample of time to really integrate the lesson, and it's not going to be like tomorrow that everything is going to change. It will need its time. So one of the big things we also saw is like and will continue to see is the celebrity status will get more irrelevant. It's like the end of fame because Aquarius wants equality among the masses. So and these new ideals around equality, they will really like start to lift up the masses during the 20-year cycle of Pluto now. So in the beginning, this won't be some kind of utopia. There will be big collective power games. Global war will expand. And hopefully this will liberate the people or cause some kind of liberation over the next 20 years. So dramatic shifts in power, decentralization, the collective power, people who are coming together to support the masses, taking everybody into consideration. And good news for you, my weirdos, because the weirdos will become the new normies. It's personally a big time for rediscovering yourself and really embrace your authenticity and your freedom, embracing your unique quirks. And these will be very fast changes because Aquarius is way quicker than Capricorn. Capricorn is like the goat climbing the mountain. It's like very slow progress. And because Aquarius is so fast, it can be a bit overwhelming. Can come very shocking and surprising, and it can cause some disruption because things will now start to change way faster than what we're used to 20 years in the past with Pluto and Capricorn. And hi, welcome Ali de Vries, and from your name I can see you're probably also from Belgium or the Netherlands, so welcome. So I can see like we will like need to engage in a community that promotes equality, especially online, because Aquarius also rules online communication. Pluto and Capricorn was more like the material or physically able to grasp kind of energy. Now it's more about networks that are like up in the air. You cannot grasp them. Aquarius is like, it's like the internet. You cannot touch it, you cannot grab it. So Pluto will be way more busy in those areas. So that's actually also one of the big reasons that I started this channel, to be of help to the collective as we are undergoing these major transitions right now. And I feel like a lot of people will need some kind of guidance because these changes can be a little bit overwhelming. So I want to thank each and every one of you to be here and to listen and to share these videos with people who might need to hear some reassurance on certain topics, because together we can like co-create and bring more awareness to the collective. So thank you all for joining. So, big bad boy Pluto. Pluto is a very intense, it is a very life-altering, very profound. It like governs themes such as control, power, sexuality, and it's about the psychological depths of our subconscious. So, this planet demands that we go deeper, exploring the truths that lie hidden beneath the surface. So, Pluto is the one that can cause intense pain and crisis that can lead to very profound personal growth, and by that, a big rebirth. So, collective issues around power and control will be highlighted, especially how it's used and abused towards towards humanity. So, a good question that you can ask yourself is like, what has control over you? And connect that to an aquarium theme such as technology, because that will be like a very big one in the next 20 years. So if you combine Aquarius and Pluto, it's like the control of the masses, which will eventually lead towards more power to the people. But we're not quite there yet. So a control of the subconscious, the shadow aspects will be coming out and expose the deep psychological underworld of the entire collective. Things that are hidden, things that are dark and repressed, and it will like highlight the parts of ourselves and our society as a whole, the things that we don't want to deal with, and that will be like projected into the whole collective. So sounds fun, right? And hi, Natalie. Goedenavond. And thank you so much, Lestiel, Emma. It's great to have astrologers like you to understand what's going on. It's helped me so, so much. Well, thank you so much, Emma. I'm here to be of help towards each and every one of you. So, Pluto and Aqua, collective trauma becoming very, very visible. And I also see that therapy will be needed for the masses and will also become much wider available. That's going to be like a very, very big topic, because Pluto, like, think about obsession and compulsion, OCD. Pluto is actually the planet of excess. So Pluto will make you like fixate on certain things, or fixate you on certain desires, which can be a bit destructive, but can also lead towards very profound insights and a very big transformation. So Pluto in the end has like the task to completely turn you upside down by presenting a major crisis in order to fully heal you in the end. So very deep inner work. And I will also highlight that there will be a lot of people that will never recover from like the mainstream media propaganda machine. The psychological issues will become very, very obvious in the next few years around those themes. And some may stay under the brainwashing forever. Others could feel this as a very intense awakening, or like a very intense wake-up call, and like a very critical moment of disillusionment, which could lead to greater awakening in the end. But the effects of this severe mental warfare wants to be purged from the subconscious now. And a lot of people will need many years to truly process this. And because Leo is on the other side of Aquarius and Leo rules the heart, many will feel a big struggle to truly connect to the heart. But it's actually the only way possible to heal this collective trauma. So the best way to connect with your heart is to do what you love, to birth something new that makes your heart sing, and that is of help to the entire collective. And it will be very important to try to ignore and reprogram the installations of what society taught us during the previous Pluto phase. Because Pluto in Capricorn, I'm not gonna lie, Capricorn works hard. It wants to achieve its long-standing goals. It wants to be on top of the mountain. It wants to be the best. But like a lot of it is based on ego, to be honest, and like wanting to be on top of the ladder and having the most money or the biggest house or the nicest car, and doing a lot of things to like really obtain all of that. And I will mention that all of this will slowly start to crumble in the next 20 years. It is like time to unite again as a people and to do what's best for society. So letting go of certain patterns of being like under pressure and constantly having to perform, psychological factors such as fear of failure and like having to prestate all of the time. These are things that we need to be looking at, and it's gonna have to be let go of for the whole consciousness, the whole collective consciousness. So this will eventually like lead towards an evolution of consciousness and like a higher perspective for the masses. What we also see, some very big historic cycles, like they repeat themselves over and over again, and astrology is like the big proof of that. And the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, the French Revolution destroyed the monarchy and changed it into a democracy. So also the American Revolutionary War created a sovereign USA, which became also the new global leader after that. So, and by then the industrial revolution began. So now we are seeing similar trends, but with the AI revolution, like the coming out of a new superpower centered in the East, the tech elites. So I'll go over the biggest topics that we will see with this ingress over the next 20 years. So the old order and bureaucracy will be fully discarded. Pluto left Capricorn, will replace it with a new, more equal one, Aquarius, or like a more decentralized one. Think about the BRICS nations, a lot of power changes occurring from that. And because of that, the territorial map will change as well. So I think this is something that a lot of people are already see coming, but will be very much highlighted over the next couple of years. So also a lot of scientific discoveries, discovering of new planets, extraterrestrial discoveries, aliens will be a very big hot topic, especially whenever Saturn and Neptune are going to conjunct next year and the year after to the exact degree. Also, Uranus is going to shift to its critical 29 degree next year. And in 2026. So these 2 coming years, we will have to be very, very discerning about those topics. Uranus at its critical degree will also bring cyber attacks, and with Pluto in Aquarius, the sign that belongs to Uranus, very intense consequences could come forth from that. We can also see like a lot of revelations about lost ancient technology, things that were hidden from us from the past that are coming back, and that will create like a big paradigm shift and to how we've actually been looking at Earth and how long we've been here on Earth as well. So Pluto is transformation. Aquarius is air. So something big will shift in regards to our air. Or our space, like for example, I know they've been like really trying to get the flying cars going, and it would like not surprise me if that is like one of the big themes that is gonna pop up during this the next 20 years as well. Maybe it's gonna be new type of airplanes, so that will be something to watch out for. I'm actually very curious about that. So another, maybe less fun thing to share for me, but I feel like I need to say it anyway, is that when Pluto was at 10 degrees of Leo, so in his opposite sign, that was actually when the baby boom happened. because Pluto rules children, and now we see it in the opposite sign. So we could potentially see the opposite effect, like a reduction of population, because Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, and Aquarius, big groups of people, the masses. So my prediction is that the birth rate will decrease until it's gonna hit a very, very alarming rate over the next 20 years. So we might see a big decrease in population. What's also related to this is Saturn and Neptune closing in on each other. We will start to feel the effects from it next year. But in 2026, they will be conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries. And 0 degrees of Aries, that is like the world axis. So it has to do with the entire world. And I know if you look back at historic cycles, Saturn and Neptune conjunct is related to like real pandemics and like real disease. For example, the Spanish flu happened during one of these conjunctions. So that is like less fun, but it's also going to be part of our near future. So then the shadow sides of technology will really come forward. A lot of domination, Plutonian measures in the Aquarian fields, like a digital ID, a social credit system, the brain implants, online currencies, but also alternative payment methods that are going to be more decentralized. Also a very big rise into AI takeover, quantum computers, biotechnology, and actually also a lot of breakdown of systems that could bring disruption, like connected to the internet. But because Aquarius is so fast, these will be quickly replaced and more efficient. And I also read like a news article that they are trying to get rid of the passport that we're having right now, and they want to try to like replace that with our iPhones, so we would actually not need like an ID in our pockets anymore. So they're already talking about that right now. So we will see like a very big realization that it's actually the technology industry that is ruling the world. And we will also see like big scrutiny towards science. That's already actually happening right now. And it's going to be connected to like experts, scientists, and they will be working into the field of health and well-being. That's also what we see now happening with Saturn and Pisces, karma connected to health and certain measures that they took in 2020. So it will become very painfully visible, and a lot of physical and mental health issues will be the result of that. And that will be like, that will get played out during the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So a big transformation and investigation regarding technocracy in the next 2 decades that will eventually lead towards more power to the people, but it will be met with huge resistance along the way. So Pluto and Aqua will also bring like another big shift into the themes of sexuality, of intimacy, of merging and deep bonding. The collective will have like a wake-up call about the issues revolving around those themes, because let's be honest, things could get a little bit weird. Because Pluto rules sexuality, Aquarius rules the internet, robots, AI. I think we're gonna see some weird stuff happening with that. But that will like be a wake-up call to like really point out how far we're off from our sacred sexuality. So the masses will become way more aware about what's going on and how bad it's like integrated into our subconscious. So it's also going to like highlight, because Aquarius is the internet, that the constant online viewing of low vibrational energy regarding sexualization really needs to stop. And if you have some knowledge about ancient sexuality, you know that like seed preservation is a very, very important topic. And I think this will become, people will become more aware of that as well. And if you don't know what seed preservation is, you can like look it up on the internet, especially the males who are watching. So it's like I expect like a very big change in how we look at sex and how it's like connected to our life essence and our capability to manifest and to heal and to bond towards each other. Aquarius rules the internet, so apps like Tinder, all the casual sex, and other forms of abusing your sexual power will eventually break down for the entire collective. So, boys and girls, maybe as well, stop visiting low vibrational websites that mess with your brain, because this releases such high levels of dopamine in the brain. And can like really, really make you unresponsive to natural sources of pleasures. So they have been like scientifically researching that topic as well. So that will be one of the more hotter topics as well. So a big tip is like start working on mastering your prana and start setting like an example for society, because your mastery will create ripples into the entire collective. I'm gonna quickly look at the comments. Yeah, yikes, lol. Yes, Laura, you know what I mean. So that will be like completely, we will, whenever Pluto shifts to Pisces, we will all see that go away. So, and if closed caption is turned on, can you translate when it has to be alone? I don't know what you mean with closed caption, Laura. I'm sorry. And then Emma says, agreed, Astrid. I want to bring up my children with a much healthier environment concerning sexuality. Yes. And I think a lot of people are really, really, becoming aware of that as well. Because if you look at Gen Z, they're like already tossing apps like Tinder and all other things already in the garbage bin. And I think that's very, very good to witness. And hopefully this will spread further into society. So, I already touched briefly onto the whole AI madness, and I'm gonna maybe share the chart so you can look at the ingress of Pluto. So, I briefly touched on the whole AI madness that we're going to witness right now, and it's going to be very, very difficult in the next few years to be like able to see what's real and what's not. And now with Elon Musk, these changes will be implemented really fast. And I am sure that like everything just goes according to plan, if you know what I mean. The only thing that we can like really do is prepare ourselves to not consent into merging our bodies with AI or brain implants. Although I do believe that some people will definitely benefit by Elon's chips. For example, blind people or deaf people, or like people who are suffering from a big immobility. For them, it will be like truly wonderful, and it will be very, very special and magnificent to watch people with a disability get better by it. So I'm not here to bask on Elon. I'm just here to like make people aware that they're gonna make it seem, they're gonna make it very popular. They're gonna do like you're gonna be smarter when you have a brain chip, and I think a lot of people will like really go for it once the time is there. So but it's like important to look at it from different perspectives, because there are many shades of gray here in that area. It's a little bit complex. Just be careful not to get swept away by it, believing that it will make everyone better or smarter, because I do think it will be very, very normalized into the future, and it is something to watch out for. So it's going to be important over the next 20 years to like choose the natural over the artificial, to keep our DNA clean, and to also like cleans it on a regular basis. And with Pluto and Aquarius in the field of technology, I do see a lot of new ways or new technology being found in order to like really cleanse ourselves and our DNA again. So it will also be important to like forming community with like-minded people that we can rely on, because if the system starts to exclude the non-consenters, it will be important to have like a community where you can like rely on. So we need to also keep in mind that we need to connect fully to nature, where things are still divine and pure, and also do a regular phone detox, or like disconnect from your digital devices on a regular basis, so we can have time to connect to our natural consciousness again. So it will be like a challenge maybe to like stay as human as possible. I think this will prove to be of a challenge in the next few years, because science and technology, it's like developing at such a fast rate, and they say they are doing that to like ease of burdens, but they're like stealing a time from your connection to the divine. So I also think that in the later Pluto cycle, AI and technology will get a little bit out of hand. Something big will happen, which will review our mindset regarding those themes, making us realize that maybe we don't really need that in our lives or on a daily basis. And we'll maybe start focusing more on our like own spiritual powers instead of technology being implemented into our brains, because we are like entering the age of Aquarius over the next 2000 years, I guess. So I think it will also highlight a lot of dormant spiritual powers. We know that telepathy, astral projection, and other forms of communication are real, and I think they will develop way more into this age of Aquarius. So our supernatural abilities will really like teach us that we don't need those artificial intelligence or devices to communicate. They are like way more natural, divine ways to communicate. So I really feel this whole robotic era will be very short-lived. I actually truly hope so. Because like I think whenever Pluto will shift towards Pisces, then it will like really guide us more towards our spirituality and the divine, and then we will see a very big transformation in the sign of Pisces. So very special. I'm curious what will happen within 20 years. So Pluto will shift towards Pisces in 2044. So, but before we like really reach that stage, I do think we will see some sort of social credit system, or yeah, definitely the East gaining power, because last time Pluto shifted into Capricorn. Last time Pluto shifted into Aquarius, all those times ago, we had a very dominant world leader. Last time that was America. Now it will be China. So, but all the things they are trying to do, it will be short-lived. So I don't want to freak you out, but I just want to be realistic on those topics. A big redirection of human consciousness is coming. Big transformation in our spirituality from 2044, and then our souls will shift into a more organic evolution, and we will stop using the technology in such actually obsessive way. Pluto is obsessive. So we will then enter like a more era that is gonna based on our divine guidance. So another big topic is also wealth, big money. Pluto rules that as well because it's part of Aquarius. and also inheritances, joint finances. So it will be about collective resources, hidden money, transformation towards power and our resources. And it will then like transform into finding ways to like benefit everybody. So we know they have been talking about a universal basic income, and that will also pop up under this transit. But it's not only about our material wealth, it's also about what we inherit from our ancestors as a collective. So I think we will look more at that as well in the coming future. Then, yes, Laura, you're right. It's a DNA activation, something that will restore, help, or cleanse in some kind of way. So it's not all bad. Like maybe I'm focusing too much on the bad aspects because, like, I'm a Virgo rising. I tend to look at the details and I always find what's wrong, and I tend to concentrate on that. But like, let's highlight the good things as well. So, and then one of the good things, well, depending on how you look at things, of course, but revolt, revolution, rebellion is all also part of this Pluto and Aquarius. It's also very much linked towards the historic cycles. So we will see rebellion against authority, societal upheaval, and revolutions, because all the historic cycles, they all had these. So when we look back at last time, or one of the last times Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the American Revolution. They gained their independence from Britain, so a totally new world emerged from that. The French Revolution also took place, and then we had like the beginning of the start of the Industrial Revolution. So we will see like main themes coming up. But luckily, the Neptune-Saturn conjunction and Uranus switching sign next year's, they will like all positively aspect Pluto in the upcoming years. So thank God. If Pluto were to make squares to one of the more slow-moving planets, I would like really hold my heart. But I think it won't be as bad as like the French Revolution, for example. But either way, we're gonna see people revolt against authorities that don't take like humanity in consideration. And like, although that can like give a crisis, I think it is necessary for us to like stand up, reclaim our rights, reclaim our power, and it's just time that like the government starts thinking about the good of humanity and not only about themselves. So, yes, Laura, it's good. We need to hear the good and the bad. Well, thank you so much, Laura, because yeah, thank you for saying that. I just don't want to scare people. I just want to like create awareness, and it's good if I highlight it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then Laura says Emma says we can be revolutionary and against authority by standing in our sovereignty. It doesn't have to be violent. Thank you so much, Emma. That is so, so beautiful. And it is so true. Like, we can do that by like just saying no towards some kind of topics, and just like stand our ground and like hold our power in a very, very loving way. So yes, I love that, Emma. Then I'm gonna talk a little bit about the US SIBLY chart, because it is important for America what's about to happen, or what will happen, or what is happening right now already. So I already talked about this a little bit in the Astro Deep Dive series on October 11. About Jupiter stationing going retrograde over the US natal Mars. And it stayed there for a whole month. I then warned about the fact that if we look back at historic cycles, it happened again on October 1941. And that was like 2 months before the US joined the Second World War. Pearl Harbor happened during that time when Jupiter was going retrograde over the Mars. And so, yeah, war with Japan, with Europe. So seventh house is actually the house of one-on-one relationships in like a personal natal chart, but in the chart of a country it points more towards allies, opponents, open enemies, and Jupiter actually creates an expansion in that. So expansion Jupiter of assisting allies, seventh house in war, Mars. It's actually sometimes very, very easy to see, even though it's not something that I like to see. So what also happened during the same time on around October 1941 was like a Moscow conference that took place. The Soviet Union was invaded by Nazi Germany, and the US and Britain then agreed to provide them with weapons to defend them against Nazi Germany. Like, how crazy is that? Like, because Joe Biden has just like given the green light for Ukraine to use the long-range missiles being supplied by the US to be able to strike into Russia. So Mars in the seventh house is like assistance to allies that are fighting. And a lot of it also has to do with Saturn and Neptune closing in towards each other, because this always like marks a very big significant change and shift in the history of Russia. So the last time this happened was like in 1989, and then we saw like the fall of the Berlin Wall. The conjunction before that happened at 1952, and then we saw the Cold War getting started, and Stalin also died. Then like 1917, Russian Revolution started, and like World War One. Like, and to top things off, Putin was born under a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Like, I'm gonna show you, like, you can't make this stuff up. It is just so unreal. Astrology is so amazing, and like here you can look at Putin's chart. He's a Scorpio rising, and like, yeah, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, he has his sun very close by and his Mercury. Like, this is crazy. And it squares his Uranus in the ninth house, and the ninth house is related to travel, foreign shores, long distance travel. So actually countries that are far away. Other countries. So that's actually very, very strange. Sometimes, yes, you're totally right, Laura. Astrology never ceases to amaze me. I totally agree on that, on what you're saying. So sometimes it like really, really gives me the shivers. And I also highlighted the chart of the EU. I highlighted the chart of Belgium and the US in my video about the full moon in Taurus that was conjunct Uranus, the planet of shocks, that we would all be very much impacted by this full moon that just took place on November 15. So big shocks for the people and resistance towards the government, shocks in governments. So if you want to look at that, it's my last video about full moon in Taurus. You can go check that out if you want. But let's look at Putin's transit real quick, because he will have like we will all have Mars retrograde in the sign of Leo, going back to Cancer, and it will start from December 6th. It will go back into the sign of Cancer on January the 6th, and Putin will have his Mars retro into the ninth house. So the ninth house, like I just said, foreign countries, long distance travel. So Mars is the planet of anger, war, and aggression. When it goes retrograde, it just like, it loses its strength, and it's like, it goes like a little bit wild. Mars can go like a little bit rogue when it's retrograde. So he will face like a lot of battles and fights with foreign countries. Then we see like Uranus on top of his 7th house. So we just talked about the 7th house in the US SIBLY chart. So for Putin, it resembles the same. The 7th house is the other, can be your allies and your opponents. Uranus in there creates like sudden shocks. Jupiter expands it, but like normally Putin is very lucky because Jupiter is also the planet of protection in his 7th house of allies. But now Uranus will go back all the way until the 23rd degree, until the 30th of January, and then it will go back direct. So it's still like widely conjunct his Jupiter. So he will like undergo major shocks regarding those themes. And we then can also see that like this conjunction makes a square aspect to his Pluto on the midheaven. And Pluto on the midheaven, it like indicates who you are in the world. It is the 10th house is like your reputation, your career, but like also how the world is looking at you. And with Pluto and Lilith conjunct on the south node, people like look at them as a very, very powerful, influential figure in the world. But with the square with Uranus towards that is like creating instability into how we look at them, and like it will create sudden upheaval for them. Then we can also see that the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that is starting to get closely together, it's going to square his Mars in the 2nd house. So Mars is the planet of anger, and then the Saturn-Neptune conjunction will both be squaring his anger. So yeah, it all just indicates a lot of intense power struggle. And if we then look at his sun sign, Lilith is currently conjuncting his sun sign, and Lilith is like the dominant female that doesn't want to be oppressed. It is very dark, feminine energy. So yeah, Lilith on the sun just like indicates I don't want to be oppressed. And it's conjunct Saturn, related to karma as well. So yeah, it just doesn't look very, very well to me, to be honest. And what we also see is that the full moon we just had in Taurus on the planet of Uranus created as well also instability towards his career and reputation. So yeah, very big sudden shocks for Putin regarding who he is in the world, regarding his power in the world. So yes, this is like just a briefly touching on his chart. If you want me to make like a more in-depth video, I can do that later. But for now, we will just, I forgot, Pluto is shifting here in his 3rd house of communication, and it will soon start to square his rising. That is like another big indicator of very, very big, intense power issues. And whenever Pluto squares the rising, like, yeah, you need to be like more careful for actual death, because the rising does indicate your body. And I'm like, normally when I have private sessions, I don't mention that, because like he's like a very prominent figure in war. I read his chart in a whole other perspective than I do when someone just like comes for a reading, you know what I mean? So no Scorpio risings, you're not all going to die. I just want to state that clearly. But for Putin, with all these other adverse aspects going on, that might be like in the cards. So I'm curious what will happen. And also especially because Stalin died under the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, and he is born with it. It is just like a possibility. Then let's go back to the US SIBLY chart. I want to highlight some transits in here as well, because Mars will go retrograde over the 8th house. So whenever it goes direct, it will also be very close towards the North Node. So the North Node is our path forward. It is like what is coming into our lives. The South Node is what we release from our lives. And with the Mars stationing retrograde 1 degree away from the North Node, that is like possible violence, war, aggression coming into to the North Node, so into the country. It's related to the eighth house. The eighth house rules is actually the natural house of Pluto. The eighth house belongs traditionally to Scorpio. So Mars in there can create some disturbances, and it's also very conflictive energy regarding money, possessions, tax dollars, joint finances being given away towards others because Mars goes back, it loses its strength. It can indicate money loss as well. It's also gonna like trigger themes around money laundry as well in the upcoming few weeks. So yeah, expect some turbulence in the eighth house of power, that big money, big hidden money, and a lot of conflict regarding that for the US. If we then look a little bit closely, or a little bit closer towards the Saturn Neptune conjunction in the US Sibley chart, we can see that it will make its conjunction right at the bottom, so right at the EC, which is actually the most sensitive part of the chart. It indicates like things that are like all the way down, they are very, very sensitive because it's the natural house of Cancer, which rules our emotions, our family, our home, the place we live, or the place we share with who we live together. So the fourth house in a country chart is more highlighting like the land, the borders, all these kind of things. So Saturn is structuring, Neptune is dissolving. So it like indicates like a dissolving of borders, issues with borders, challenges to the land itself, and it will also start to square the stellium in Cancer that we see there in the seventh house of opponents and allies. So yes, this won't be like a very, very easy time for the US as a whole. Then another very big factor that I'm taking into consideration is that Uranus will shift towards Gemini next year. And whenever we see Uranus in Gemini, like next year, it will briefly go into Gemini. Then it will retrograde back to wrap up some final lessons, and it will be fully into the sign of Gemini in 2026. And if we look back at historic cycles of Uranus in Gemini, it is related to World War II. And like World War II, when that began, Uranus was at its 26th degree of Taurus. Right now, today, it's the 25th degree of Taurus. So it's very, very, very special, the same reoccurrences. Then if we look back at another cycle, at 1861 till 1865, we had the US Civil War with Uranus and Gemini. And then we actually had in the cycle earlier to that, that was 1774 until 1782, we had the American Revolutionary War. So just like be prepared that there could be like some shakeups regarding that, and the Mars retrograde from 6th of December will start to, it will be like a kickoff for that. So, and yes, Celestial Emma, astrology is like the weather forecast. If it's going to rain, we can take our umbrella and dance. It makes for a better day. So yeah, I'm just also giving this forecast, this weather forecast, so you people are able to like get the umbrella out on time and to really dance and make a better day, and to be like aware of what's going on and to prepare for that as well. So let's just hope it just like when we look back at previous cycles as well, there were a lot more tension aspects, a lot more squares, a lot more oppositions. I can see that it's like less severe now in the upcoming cycle. So let's just hope and pray that it will be milder than previous cycles. But it's good to be like aware of that. So we are gonna do the mini readings for each of the 12 signs. So if you don't know your exact rising sign, but actually for this Pluto and Aquarius, you can like listen at your sun, moon, and rising sign, because they will all get affected. And Pluto is a very slow moving transit, so it does take like a lot of time. So the things that I'm going to mention right now, it will take like 20 years to fully develop themselves itself. So don't expect tomorrow, when Pluto changes signs, that all these things are going to manifest directly. No, the things I'm going to mention can first be related to a little bit of a crisis, for you to like have a little mini death and rebirth, in order for you to like gain more power towards those topics that I'm going to mention. So if you don't know your exact rising sign, you can type in your birth details, or your birth info online, and you can look at the big first black line that is going to appear, and that does indicate your rising sign. So we will start with Aries. So Pluto is gonna change into Aquarius, into your 11th house tomorrow. So good news for Aries, because Pluto stops squaring us. I'm a fellow Aries, and it's been squaring us since 2018. So Pluto made us stronger by intense crisis. It made us more emotionally resilient through the tough times. Our old self completely died. So there's like a big transformation. And Pluto will never square our sun again. So, yay. Um, and the first 6 degrees of Aries will be very much impacted next year, because it will start to make like a sextile towards our sun, or our rising, or your moon. So it like will really empower you without a horrible crisis, and you will become much stronger and more powerful all the way up until 2044. So it's in the 11th house, which rules your social circle. It's your aspirations, your dreams, your gains from the 10th house of self-employment. Very important for people who are like fully working for themselves. So you can have like greater career gains from that, connected to larger groups of people. For others who are not self-employed, there will be like a big transformation taking place in your social circle, into like the people in your like-minded people, actually. So Pluto can give you over the next 20 years more influence in like larger groups of people. You can also be met in the beginning with Plutonian forces operating into your friend group, even some loss or death of friends. That is also a possibility. But Pluto will make good aspects over the next few years, so to you. So it will definitely be empowering through joining like-minded groups of people. You will reach larger groups of people, or like powerful people will enter your path, that will like help you with your long-standing dreams as well. It's the 11th house of dreams. So it will be very wise to like join a community with futuristic goals, or you will gain more power into the social media sector. It will also like give you more power to like foster certain connections. And the 11th house is also the house of your older sibling. So an older brother or sister can have like a very powerful and transformational energy in your life. And it's like the one who's like the oldest, like can be like a very big ally to you. But like I've mentioned, in the beginning, it can give some hiccups, some power plays in your or like power struggles in your friendship domain. And if you look more closely to the chart, Pluto rules your 8th house. So there can be changes in financial goals, and like joint finances connected to your social circle as well. So we can like talk forever about Pluto and Aquarius, but it's going to be here for a long time. It's going to stay here for a long time. So I will highlight more in my upcoming forecasts about that. What I can also mention is like Pluto is gonna trine your third and your seventh house, and third house is like writing, speaking, communicating. It's also again your siblings; they naturally fall under the third house. It's also communication devices. It's also like your social media house. So trining that with like the 11th house of big groups of people, that's why I mentioned like it's a good time to like really get out there and join like Aquarius like communities online. You can have like a lot of transformation coming forth from that. And the seventh house is also like the house of partnerships and signing contracts. So you will definitely see a very big breakthrough in those areas whenever Uranus will shift into Gemini, into your third house. And I think that's going to be June, July next year. So good luck, Aries. And Laura says, interesting. I have an older sister. We are each other's greatest allies. Like, I like this. Thank you. Oh, that's so great to hear. It is family needs to be there to be like really supporting each other. And I know that's not the case in all the families. So it's really like, it's nice to see and to read this, Laura. So the next one is Taurus. Taurus, Pluto is moving out of your ninth house into your 10th house, and the Taurus will get under pressure, especially the first 4 to 6 degrees, because Pluto will start to square your sign. So Pluto will put you under pressure in the next cycle. But having it placed in the 10th house can be a very big empowerment in career and how others see you. It can be a very, very powerful reputation, social standing. But in the beginning, as I mentioned, it can give a little bit of a crisis. So power struggles with a boss are possible, or maybe you decide to become your own boss. So there's a very intense, big transformational shift in your 10th house of reputation, of self-employment as well. So I think a lot of Tauruses are gonna be like fed up with having like powerful Pluto people above them. They will probably be not be able to like really deal with that anymore. So I think a lot of Tauruses will say, well, bye, I'm gonna start working for myself and then over the next 18 years. So it could give you like very high recognition with power in with people in authority when once the cycle is complete. So a total transformation, and that's so cool, Emma. You're a Taurus sun. My brother is a Taurus sun, so I really love them. They're like so chilled out and they're so grounded and like they work hard, they play hard, they like all the finer things in life. They're usually very sweet and it takes such a long time to get them really pissed off. But like once they're pissed off, you need to like run for the hills. So I like the Taurian energy very much. So Pluto in the 10th house, getting power in how other people see you, getting more power in the outside world, maybe getting people to work for you. You will have like influence of importance, and like the early born Tauruses will already start to feeling that next year. Later Tauruses will have to wait longer for that. But Pluto will like push you into like a power of position in the next 20-year cycle. So Pluto is also the planet of fear. So it can also like push you outside of the comfort zone related to your public standing or your career. So my tip for you Tauruses is like, if it makes you feel scared, go for it. And also be careful about if you do something, do it very truthful. Otherwise, Pluto will expose you. So now it's really like the time to take more control over your own life and over your reputation. And Pluto rules your 7th house of partnerships. It's the house of marriage. So very big transformation in committed relationships. Maybe some will marry under this aspect, or really encounter a very, very intense, obsessive, new long-term contract. And that will like totally turn you upside down in order for you to get triggered by that other person and to start healing your inner trauma or issues. That also belongs to Scorpio and Pluto. Sun or rising, but I believe Astrid said look at rising first. Yeah, like the most important thing for me is the rising, because your rising then indicates directly in which house your Pluto is going to shift into. But we can also look at the shifts that Pluto makes from a sun sign perspective. And this video, you can also look at your moon sign, because Pluto will also severely and over a very long time affect your moon as well. So maybe you can look at all three of them, make some notes, combine it together, and then you will have like a more detailed information about how Pluto is gonna influence you over the next few years. So yeah, look at all three of them, but like if you're like so start with the rising, then your sun sign, then your moon sign. But the most important thing for me is always the rising sign, because then all the houses that I highlight and the aspects that it's making to specific houses will be most correct. So I hope that helps. So good luck, Taurus. So the next one is Gemini. Pluto will move from your 8th house into your 9th house. So very good for the Geminis, because Pluto will trine your sun, your rising, or your moon. So that's actually very, very good news for all the Geminis. Because if you are Gemini rising, Pluto was in your 8th house for the last since 2008. So it's been giving you a lot of big transformation and a very, very big, deep healing, traumatic events that happened during that time, because Pluto is ruler of the 8th house. So although it tends to like being in that house, it doesn't mean it makes it like easier, because Pluto and the 8th house are connected to Scorpio, very, very big intense transformation. So the Geminis, the first 4 to 6 degrees, will start to already feel the Pluto trine towards their sun, moon, or rising. Others who have later degrees will have to wait another year or 2 or 3. But like in the 9th house, it is about like your vision of the future. It is also the house of your belief system. It is foreign travel, this teaching. It is also like people who can help you, like people like a coach, teacher, guru. You will maybe encounter some very spiritual, intense person who can help you, because the 9th house is originally the house of Sagittarius. It's about expanding your view on the world. So very profound changes in your beliefs. So maybe you can like to really positively stimulate this aspect. You can like go on a trip, and that can like change your whole perspective and view on the future in a very powerful way. So it can also connect you to a powerful mentor or teacher, maybe in a foreign country. But it will be about a higher vision shared with others, Aquarius, with groups of people, and making a big transformation on the vision or your view on society as a whole, and shifting your beliefs around foreign places, the 9th house, long distance travel, transformation in that, and higher perspectives gained by that will empower you the next 20 years. So good time to discover deep, hidden, occult, or higher knowledge while traveling or connecting to communities, or like have a community in a foreign country that gives you like very powerful, profound insights. That is also very good to handle this energy. So Pluto rules your sixth house, because the ninth house is especially about learning, and the sixth house is about your health and your job and your daily routine. Maybe it will be very good to start learning about health and well-being, how to heal others, gain higher knowledge about that, or learn about law and legality. That's also part of the ninth house. Or like in your daily life, you will like enter a community and share your knowledge with them. Good to engage with like spiritual communities online as well that are for a foreign from a foreign country. And if you're like a coach or a counselor, it would be a very good time for you to give therapy sessions related to community or to a foreign country, maybe about health and well-being, the sixth house. So, and if you're in need of some therapy, a powerful community in a long distance country could like help increase your wellness, sixth house of health. So, good time for joining a community that will change your daily habits, like physical joining, but rather I think it will be an online one in a far distance country. And Pluto will like trine your fifth house. And your fifth house is like transformation, how you present yourself. You might like be more on stage in a powerful way because the fifth house is the house of Leo. And this could like, it will all make a very healthy aspect towards your sun or rising sign. So overall, very good for Geminis, and really focus on creativity and your hobbies, and maybe gaining more power in that as well. So then the next one is Cancer. So Cancers, your Pluto is moving into your eighth house. It was in your seventh house for a very long time, and it like matured your seventh house of relationships. And you will now start to feel the effect of Pluto moving into your eighth, and that is like the house of the occult. So Pluto works well in that house, and you will feel the impact of that over the next 20 years. So, the natural house of Pluto, very intense, very transformative, and you can like undergo major financial situations, and also it's also about resources and anything shared, so your joint finances. So major focus on financial matters, themes of life and death, secrets, transformation, in subconscious spheres as well. So very good time to start working with a therapist. Pluto can give you some crisis at first in those domains, but it will be very deep and a very transformative healing energy for the next 20 years. So expect to be put in a power of position into the eighth house matters, like occult, psychological issues, your natural gifts, loans, taxes, insurance, secrets, intimacy, deep bonding are all part of the eighth house. But Pluto moves very slow, so this can be like a very hidden process because the eighth house is very hidden as well. So it will take a long time. It will happen like more in a more subtle way. And if you are now really conscious of it, you can like really start using that to your advantage. But there can be some crises occurring in inheritance and shared finances, in some insurances. So keep that in mind, double check that, make sure that all your taxes are in order, or otherwise Pluto will like distract those areas. And also things that you've like invested with another person can become a little bit complicated as well. So Pluto rules your fifth house. It is also actually a money house, the fifth house, because it's about gambling in the fifth house. So maybe gambling can give some of the Cancers more power into the eighth house of shared resources. So some of you Cancers might very well be gambling and winning some money in the over the next 20 years. But the fifth house is also your creative hobbies, and it will also relate to psychological issues towards dating and your children. So because attraction, short flings, love, romance, it is also found into the fifth house. So cancers are going to make a big, they're going to make a transformation about healing those fears regarding these themes. So Pluto will trine your fourth and your 12th house. So two very emotional sensitive houses, and luckily it's a trine. So big transformation by purging self-sabotaging behavior brought on by the family, connected to your family, and it's going to bring up intense emotions in order for you to like really purge those issues. So good luck, Cancers. The next one is Leo, and Leo's, your Pluto will shift from your sixth house into your seventh house. And I think a lot of Leos will really love this because Pluto in the sixth house is all about work. It is all about the daily grind, like really putting yourself out of debt because your service towards other people is connected to some kind of debt. Pluto in the eighth house, debt as well. So in the sixth house, working your ass off to release yourself from some kind of debt. So in the next 18 years, Pluto will shift into your seventh house of partnerships, relationships, marriage, business partnerships. So powerful people, powerful partners, business partners are going to put you in a position of higher power. It's about committed one-on-one relationships, and because the sign is Aquarius in your seventh house, it can also be about very close committed friendships, because Aquarius is the sign of friendships as well. So partners can go through very intense changes, and if you have a new attraction or form like a very new long-term commitment, it can be a little bit obsessive in the beginning. So be very careful for power struggles if you do tend to notice or feel that, because Pluto can be like very, very fixated, being fixated on another person. So. And if your relationship has been on rocky grounds for quite some time, like I'm sorry to say, Leos, but Pluto is also the planet of destruction, so it can indicate divorce for some people. It can also be very sudden and unpredictable because Aquarius is on the cusp, and it indicates those unpredictable things. But it doesn't necessarily need to be that bad. It can just indicate a very, very big transformation in your partner's life as well. That could like be very, very intense for you as the partner. So Pluto wants to purify and break down the ego. So no power struggles or manipulations are actually allowed, but it will pop up in your partnership houses. So expect a little bit more underlying themes popping up in regards to other people. But other people will transform you in a very intense way. So if you feel that's coming, also be welcoming to let that in as well. It like all depends on what aspects Pluto is making in your natal chart. So these general readings, I tend to go over a lot of possibilities, but all depends on your personal chart. So the seventh house is also a sales, clients, business, audience, partnership. And with Pluto, which is like very intense, that can be like very hot and cold revolving those themes. And other people will oppose your ego in a very heavily way somewhere in the next 20 years into this cycle, depending on the degree of your sun, moon, and rising. So that could result in a bit of a crisis situation, but in the end, it will make you much stronger. So Pluto rules your fourth house. So issues connected to family could be brought into the marriage. or issues connected to your home or living situations, family dynamics can put a bit of pressure on the relationship. So that is something to be mindful about, and do not let problems of your family affect your marriage. Um, or like, for example, the Leos that are gonna divorce, like when you go through a breakup, that automatically severely affects your living situation as well. Or if you enter a new Plutonian, very obsessive, healing new relationship and they come living with you, it's vice versa. So, but really tend to, you need to like prioritize your needs when things get too intense with other people. That is something to be mindful about. So good luck, my dear Leos. I love you very much, my fellow fire signs. Then Virgo, Virgo rising, Virgo moon. Pluto will shift from your fifth house to your sixth house of work and service towards others. So if you just been listening to the Leos, they had their Pluto in the sixth house for quite some time. So if you're curious about what this transit will bring for you, maybe it's time to go talk with a Leo. But you will definitely feel some pressure getting lifted from your romantic life, the fifth house. So maybe some Virgos will start to make some better choices in love. Will have to deal with less critical, intense things regarding to love, but it's also like easing off a lot of tension with children, because fifth house also rules children. And Pluto will bring his profound changes in your sector of daily routines, health, service towards others, and also your job duties. And Pluto will make you like work really hard for it. So Pluto can also give you like a more power position in your job, especially if you have like a boss. There can be some crisis or some power struggles with colleagues popping up. Pluto can be obsessive. That's going to be projected in your house of health, work, and daily routines. So maybe more innovation at your work or your health routine area over the next 20 years. But Pluto is also giving you like a lot of willpower to maybe change unhealthy habits, or your commitment towards a job or a pet, because pets are also part of the sixth house, and maybe some people with Virgo qualities will undergo a very big, intense transformation with their pets. And I hate to say that because I'm Virgo rising, so I love my pet, my cat, so much, and I hope it's not gonna manifest in that area for us all. So, but yeah, Pluto rules your third house of communication, but also the third house is part of your mind. It is communicating, writing, speaking. So it's also learning, a course or a study is all connected to the third and the ninth house. So maybe some of you will like learn about health, or learn how to communicate differently. It can get a little bit more intense your communication, maybe a little bit provocative with Pluto in Aquarius, that can cause some disruption. So be mindful of that. It could also indicate using new technological devices in your work office, or in your daily routines, or new devices in your health area. And you will, if you encounter like an intense crisis in the sixth house, you will just like be thinking with the third house about solving mysteries or solving problems related to your sixth house themes. So this one is really about restoring the mind-body balance. I think that is the most important part for Virgo. So good luck, Virgos. The next one is Libra. Pluto is moving from your fourth house into your fifth. So Libras have been going through it because you guys had a Pluto square, which is like the most intense aspects one can have. So now it's gonna form a trine towards your sun, your moon, or your rising. So that is like such a good news for Libras. You will be like totally transformed. If it's trining your rising sign, your body, your physical appearance will change. If it trines your moon sign, it will have a very big transformational impact on your emotions. And if it trines your sun sign, it can indicate a lot more power in your vitality. So in the fourth house, it was like a really, really crisis-oriented energy, but now this shifts toward your fifth house. The first 4 degrees will be very much impacted by that and will like undergo empowerment and transformation through creativity, children, romance, entrepreneurial activities, showing yourself on stage, really connect to your authenticity and have fun by doing that. Fifth house also rules fun. Can also indicate like past life talents coming forward now. So yeah, Libras, really put yourself in the spotlight. It will give you like more authority and give you a higher position or like a power position in your creative hobbies, creative ventures. It's also in the house of children. So yeah, there can be some intense healing crises that can occur with children and romantic partners as well in the beginning. But it will like totally for Libra risings be like a whole change in appearance, and you will like appear more Plutonian, so you can appear more powerful. Be careful not to appear too dominant, but it's like a trine aspect. But either way, Pluto aspects to your personal placements are very, very, very powerful. So you also can get like very fixated on romance and children. Maybe some energy is gonna enter that house now, and you're gonna be like a little bit freaked out about how intense Pluto is like pushing your nose on things in these areas. So Pluto also rules your second house of money and income. It's your personal resources. It's also your self-esteem. So be mindful about your spending behavior related to hobbies, the fifth house, or the new ideas that you're going to fixate on. Maybe you're going to spend a lot of money on your new romantic attraction. That's possible, but be careful because with Pluto, it can get a little bit out of hand. So yeah, I think romantic ventures can go well, but will portray to be very, very obsessive. So if you do encounter that, just know that Pluto is here to teach you things through romantic attraction, and also in regards to children, they will trigger you in order to transform and heal you. But because it's making a trine, I do see this ending well. So good luck, my dear Libras. So the next one is Scorpio. Pluto will move from your third into your fourth house, and you are ruled by Pluto. So very, very important. Scorpios will feel this shift immensely for the next 20 years. So and having it placed in the fourth house can be very, very critical because it's on your IC, especially if you're a Scorpio rising. It's in your at your most sensitive point in the chart. It's ruled by your home, your family, roots, your ancestors. So very big changes and transformation in that. And you already saw some of the shifts in that whenever Pluto was in your fourth house from January until September, I think. So the first signs, the first degrees of Scorpio will be very, very impacted by the shifts in their home and in their family dynamics. There could be some crisis involving a parent that could leave like a very big emotional impact. Pluto is also the planet of secrets. So secrets about your family, about family curses. It's about breaking generational patterns. And Pluto will give you like first a crisis in those areas in order to get fully healed and like gain a more powerful influence in your family dynamics. But a lot of these changes will be very emotional because the fourth house is a very deep, watery, emotional house. But if you go through that, it will like put you in a position inside of your home. So empowerment after crisis. And I know you Scorpios, you like embody the empowerment through crisis your whole life. So I think Scorpios know what I'm talking about. They're so used to it, but still doesn't make it easy. Pluto in the fourth can also give you like big shifts with your mother or with your own nurturing energy. So that is also one of the themes. But the fourth house is also your living place, your actual home. So there can be some reconstruction, some real estate issues. Maybe you want to buy a house, reconstruct the house. And yeah, that could also give some power struggles with the people that you live with together. But a total transformation of your living situation, either way, if you want it or not, that's going to happen, especially for the Scorpio risings. So I also think that some will be forced to move because Pluto is also the planet of force. And others will crave like maybe a more modern house, Aquarius, or add some new technologies in the home. But be careful about implementing controlling tech into the house. And Pluto, yeah, of course, rules you and your first house. So a totally new you, self-expression, and the way you assert yourself will be completely renewed by this transit. So Scorpio, you actually deserve like an hour-long video on this, especially with Mars opposite in the 10th house, creating friction in your career area opposite your home area, and then the new and a full moon and all the cardinal houses. Big change, big shift is gonna happen for Scorpio over the next few months. So I wish you good luck, my dear Scorpios. So now we're entering Sagittarius season almost. So Sagittarius, get ready because it's almost your birthday. So Pluto will shift from the second to the third house for you, Sagittarius. And that's good news because this means Pluto will make a sextile towards your sun and will support you in the next 20 years. You will be very much empowered through third house themes. And those are like speaking, writing, your mind, communicating, technological communication advices. It's also the house where you have your social media, your website, blogging, all these things. So Pluto can give you first a crisis and later an empowerment in those areas. So, but anyway, for Sagittarius, it will be less profound crisis because it makes a good aspect to your sun, moon, or rising. But you will gain more willpower in the areas of thought, speech, transportation, short trips, and also siblings. That's also part of the third house. But be a little bit careful about how you articulate yourself or how you speak, because Pluto can be very destructive with words. You can easily sway people away with your words as well. So use your tongue in a very wise way. Otherwise, it will backfire and will create issues in your mind. And Pluto is the truth, a planet, also the planet of revealing secrets and the truth. So not everyone is looking forward to hearing your sudden, unpredictable truth, although I am a big fan of that, to be honest. But keep in mind that not everyone wishes to hear that. But it can also like manifest into diving into topics, obsessive studying, because maybe some sages will start to doubt their knowledge. Pluto in the third house tends to do that, especially if you're born with Pluto in the third house. You can like start studying or really like gaining information, because knowledge is power, and that is like gonna create a lot of effect into the third house area as well. So some really like study to calm the fears inside of their mind, and that is also one of the issues or the themes here. But your difficulties from the second house, your money house, are now going to end. So it's over with crisis related to your position. You've underwent a big transformation in that, and now it's a very good time to learn and study about Aquarian topics like technology, alternative methods of healing the mind, something related to humanitarianism, speaking or teaching to a wide audience, big groups of people, the masses, Aquarius. It will also totally transform your immediate environment, or how you look or speak to them, and your relationship to your neighbors as well. So some power struggles with siblings are possible, especially during the opposition with Mars that's going on until the end of February, and actually the end of April. Then we have it again. So those are times that this can like happen. But Pluto can like really, it can like pierce through thought, and it wants truth. So you may feel, some of the sages will feel like if they can read someone's mind, which is very interesting. And Pluto is also like the one who like looks through the bullshit. So it will be harder for other people to lie to you, because you have this Pluto in the mind, and you can like have this radar and this detector. So you will sense it way more strongly. Yeah, you will definitely implement something regarding new technology through the internet, connected to your communication means, to your website, and a shift about how you connect towards other people by speaking and thinking. And Pluto rules your 12th house. So it's about purging self-sabotaging behavior, deep, intense healing, connected to the spiritual realm. So be very mindful about what you say and how that affects the spiritual field as well. It can also indicate speaking things into existence. So very good time to like manifest something through writing or journaling. You can like feel that if you write something down, or if you speak it into existence, because it's connected to the 12th house of the unseen realms, it can get like it can get easier manifested. Also because Saturn and Neptune are going to be closely conjunct, with which also indicates like the structuralization of spirituality. Neptune and Saturn combined. So for Sagittarius, very, very strong. So you can also like add some mantras, or like really say very positive words of affirmations towards yourself, to like totally reprogram the subconscious, because Pluto is subconscious and the 12th house is like things that we can't fully grasp. So Pluto here is actually very, very powerful to start reconstructing all of that. So it's about empowerment of the mind, and being more mindful about your spiritual powers, the 12th house. So very good for Sagittarius, and I wish you good luck, my fellow fire sign. Then we have Capricorn. Yes, very, very big for you, Capricorns, because yay, let's have a drink. Pluto will leave your sign. So yes, like time to celebrate for Capricorns. So I really do hope some Capricorns do not have a moon, a sun, or a rising into Aquarius. And I'm sorry for laughing, but yeah, it's sometimes the energy from the universe is just like, oh well, then there's that. So yeah. Okay, so Pluto leaves your sign and shifts into the second house. So you will never have Pluto in your sign again if you have like a sun, moon, or rising in Capricorn. Now it will enter your second house. So Pluto will feel much easier to deal with for you. And it's gonna like empower you through your income, but first it can create some crisis and that. So the second house is about possessions, self-esteem, food, your five senses. So a big transformation, and I've like really seen people become very rich when Pluto entered their second house, but also people who lost everything when Pluto entered the second house. So it really depends on how you've used your power whenever Pluto was in your sign. But I do think because Capricorns have been going through the grind of Pluto in their sign since 2008, that Pluto like really toughened you, made you more emotional, resilient, and that the Capricorns now really like implemented and learned the lesson from Pluto. So I do expect, of course, also depending on which aspect your Pluto is going to make towards your natal planets, but overall, I think this will be a very, very big relief for the Capricorns. And yeah, Pluto can destruct a little bit, you already know that, but it wants to heal you. So if you use your power in a very healthy way, Pluto can now like really, really regard you with very big gains in your money sector. But if you've abused it, he will take and destroy it all. So just be mindful of that. And in order to teach you, you need to be like true, and also it will teach you how to make an honest living or earning. It's like a very big make or break down in the sector of your money house. So yeah, empowerment through money. And a lot of millionaires have Pluto in the second house natally, and mostly it trines Jupiter. But I would like need to look at your personal chart before you jump to conclusions. But that's like one of the big themes. And because Pluto is in Aquarius, it's about money revolving around the collective as well, about technology, about how you maybe about communities as well. So a very big transformation in your material security. But the second house is also your values. So Pluto can make like a very profound change in that as well. So maybe you've come to the realization that the way how you've been making money does not longer suit you in any way, because your values will undergo like a big shift now. So it can indicate like radical change in spending and purchasing power, and like new ways of income that put you into a high position. And Pluto rules your 11th house. So 11th house is your social circle. It is your networking house. It is your community and like-minded people house, but also your goals, dreams, and aspirations. So there could be some powerful people entering your life that could bring you more money, connected to groups of people, connected to your friendships. You could also like make more wealth by investing in some type of technology, or investing in communities. But Pluto will totally change your goals and your aspirations as well in the upcoming 20 year. So good luck, my dear Capricorns. You're off the hook. The next one is Aquarius. So Aquarius, oh my God, you deserve like a whole day of explaining what this will mean, but I will highlight the most important parts, because you are now having Pluto in your own sign from, yeah, tomorrow. I'm filming this on the 18th, so tomorrow it's go time for Aquarius. So a very, very big, intense new chapter over the next 20 years. And you already had like a sneak peek from Pluto in Aquarius at its 0 degree from January through September. So there are already important shifts that are like set into motion already. So But Pluto will totally transform you. First, it can like strip you of all the things that don't work anymore. So in the beginning, there can be like a big crisis, especially for the early born Aquariuses. So if your sun, moon, or rising is at the first 4 to 6 degrees, you will feel it strongly during 2025 and 2026. And Pluto is like the destroyer of ego. It like punishes everyone who abused their power or their power position in any bad way. So it's like a very big death of the old version of yourself. You can like encounter real shadow inside yourself, like the darker side of yourself into your subconscious. But like it will make you strong. It's not for the faint of heart, I'm not gonna lie, but Pluto's lessons take up very long time, so you will have like ample of time to really implement the lesson, and you will overcome it, and by that you will become way more empowered. So it will make you like confront your fears, confront your traumas, and like push you or like force you to really release those. So yes, Pluto in your sign, I'm not gonna lie, it can be very, very life transforming. It's a complete transformation of the self. If it's your rising, it's your appearance. If it's your sun, it's your vitality and your ego. If it's your moon, it will manifest in the area of your emotions, your feelings, your home, and a mother. So yeah, but it's gonna like present yourself in a very different way. So a lot of personal empowerment, way more on authenticity, really redefining who you are and breaking free. But remember, it's a long 20-year transit. So yeah, 0 degrees Aquarius have already been through it for a while now. So you already know what's going on. And then the first 0 to 4 will feel it strongly next year, and then the other degrees that will come later. So Pluto opposite Mars, because yeah, we will have this aspect going on, intensifying by January the 6th, or a little bit before that. And by the end of April, that will be very important times for Aquariuses, especially revolving yourself and towards your other partners, especially if you're an Aquarius rising. So there can be like a constant up and down, rising from the ashes, constantly failure and getting back up again, constantly looking at what is going well and what isn't working, checking up on like how you, in which ways you use your power. So Pluto is very intense, so it can bring like many life-changing events in a very short period of time, because Aquarius is so fast and can be unsuspected as well. But like its intensity will stay here for a long time. So yeah, it wants to bring lingering things from under the surface into the light. It wants to like completely transform you, heal you. So yeah, that can be a little bit scary. That's true, but very empowering. Will really stimulate your willpower. It will make you like a master of your subconsciousness. It will make you face the darkness, and Pluto gives like an enormous strength if you show up in a truth and honest way. So people can like really start looking at you as a very empowered being. And we really need the Aquariuses right now in this time, because we really need people who think different, who have forward thinking, who think outside of the box. So Aquarius will play a very significant role in the upcoming future of our Earth, because they will be the ones who become empowered and like transform some very, and they will intensify some very profound changes that are going to happen here on Earth. And like we really need you guys to like face and really look into yourself and release your demons, so you can be like of very big help towards the collective. And over the next 20 years you will most definitely play a very important role in a big group of people, or in a community, or in connecting towards people online, in an online way as well. So very big change, and completely break away of how you've always been known. So good luck, my dear Aquariuses. And the next sign is Pisces. So Pisces, sun, moon, or rising. Pluto is going to shift from your 11th house of groups of people and your social circle into the 12th house, the house of the unseen realms. So, 12th house is also your mental health, spirituality, self undoing, self sabotage. Dream, sleep, very hidden private house, and it's also the house of endings. So very, very deep inner work with Pluto here, and a major spiritual awakening. It could also like really, really intensify your dreams. So it can also be like very profound internal shifts happening in dreams. So dream, when you wake up, dreams can like really stick by you, and you're already very sensitive towards the dream state because you are a Pisces. So I know Pisces that wake up and can like describe 3 4 dreams, and can like tell other people who they've seen, and like where they've been and with who and how long, and like being conscious that you are dreaming as well. So yeah, Pluto here can like really show you as well what you've been doing wrong to yourself in the 12th house. It will shine a very bright light, maybe I should say a dark light, on your like darker side and on your mental health as well. Maybe Pluto show you the places into your subconscious where it gets a little bit severe, and demands through some kind of crisis to like really make a change in that. Or it will start, or force you to start healing yourself in a very, very deep way. And it will be mostly energetic, like astral body type of way, like your aura kind of way as well. So very good to like clean up your spiritual house, and like clean up your things into the unseen realm. Intense regeneration through dreams, and working on a very powerful, or in a very powerful position behind the scenes. Pluto will give you like empowerment through that. Um, so maybe you're working on some project behind the scenes that is connected to technology, to communities, to big groups of people, and you can like really gain authority in that area. So yeah, first it's gonna give crisis, then it will like gain some success in those areas. So success in your 12th house teams, in your depths of the soul. It's very good if you are working or doing a job regarding imagination, like a movie maker, film director, musicians, working in a hospital, working in the spiritual field, or the artistic field. Or maybe you could like actually be working with bigger animals to release trauma or negative habits in other people as well, or for yourself as well. So that is something that's important as well. And it will like also indicate toxic endings, because the 12th house is the house of final of big endings related to the past, things that can pop up again to get its final culmination. Pluto destructs, so you could like really, really transform your addictions if you have any. Pluto will like force you to quit those, and everything having to do with like toxic endings. You could also like gain a powerful position in a faraway country, connected through possibly water. Then Pluto rules your ninth house. Your ninth house is your belief system. It is your philosophy, and it is also higher education or higher knowledge. So your vision can like change your perspective about the future. That's also part of the ninth house. But the ninth house is especially like a learning house. So because it's in your 12th house about spirituality, and it rules your ninth house of learning and teaching as well, it's like learning about spiritual practices, learning about meditation, learning about yoga and past life regression, soul retrieval, yeah, doing spiritual work with animals, really learning about how you could be of help to the collective unconsciousness as well. So what you will learn will be connected to Aquarian themes. So all the things you now restore inside of yourself, into your own soul or into other souls, will automatically influence and heal the collective. So it could also indicate working for in a very selfless way, or learning about working in a selfless way, or maybe for the underprivileged, the people who need help, like homeless people. That's also part of the 12th house. Or maybe you go to a foreign country, that's part of the ninth house, to teach spiritual practices to people who are maybe displaced or underprivileged, or maybe you go to a foreign community to teach something in regards to the 12th house spiritual practices as well. And it could like really help to reduce the more crisis related energy that Pluto brings into your 12th house. So learning new techniques or new type of faiths or religion during a travel can also be applied here. So yeah, that was it for today. So if you're still here, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye bye.